Welcome to another edition of Backstage Pass, powered by the Sports Guys Podcast, with your host, Brandon Morrell.
You're listening to the Backstage Pass, powered by the SportsGuysPodcast.com. It's a grand slam of music and sports, presented by Tour Guitars, Morrell Outdoors, Beaumont Fast Signs, ReactiveInc.com, and Irmis Double E Grocery. This is your home for some of the hottest new artists in music today, as well as some of the greatest artists from yesterday. Here are Brandon Morrell and Nick Canizales, exclusively on the SportsGuysPodcast.com and 100mixfm.com.
And welcome into the Backstage Pass. Of course, we're always powered by our good friends over at the SportsGuysPodcast.com, that being CreativeInc.com. They take care of that very website. And presented by our good friends over at Tour Guitars. You can check them out if you're in the market for a custom-made guitar at tourguitars.us. And definitely pleased to welcome in here to the Backstage Pass one of the legends of country music. He played piano at an early age and, of course, definitely had that running in his genes for music for a long time. Mickey Gilley joins us here on the Backstage Pass. And, Mickey, what's going on, man?
Brandon, let me tell you, it's an honor and a pleasure being on your performance with you today. And things are looking pretty good. To be 84 years old and still being out there on the road performing the songs for the folks, we've been having a great time. And Johnny Lee and I have been doing the Urban Cowboy reunion tour and having some fun with it. And we started about almost 3.5 years ago. It's been quite a ride for both of us, and we're having a good time. I'm in my 80s and Johnny's in his 70s, but he's still looking for love, and I'm still playing the girls get pretty close in time.
It's a good thing out there. Of course, we had Johnny Lee on the program just last fall. It was good to catch up with him, and definitely my prayers are with him, and of course his family right now too. And I'll tell you, Mickey, you guys have had a good response on that tour coming back. Of course, the anniversary for the Urban Cowboy tour, and definitely with all this pandemic stuff going on and this craziness. I guess personally, how have you guys held up? I guess where's the tour kind of stopped, although there's some shows out there scheduled. Kind of give me an update on the Urban Cowboy reunion tour.
Well, what happened was in March is when we were out in Nevada, and we had some shows lined up for California, Nevada, Arizona, and Colorado. And March comes along, and we're getting ready to open the Riverside Inn, and all of a sudden I get a call, and after having breakfast that morning, the agent in Nashville called me and said, "You can cancel all the shows and go home. We're moving everything till next year or a few months in advance." Anyway, to make a long story short, I didn't go back to work until September, and I got to play a few shows at the old theater in Branson, Missouri, but it was a very limited amount of people you could put in there. But I wanted to go back to work and start performing again. So the only actual show I've done was some outside of Birmingham, Alabama, about an hour and a half out of Birmingham. I can't recall the city was in, but we got to play one show this past Saturday night. And so we're looking forward to going back on the road when things, lighten up a little bit.
Yeah, I tell you what, take me back. I remember the beginning of the story, growing up there in Houston, Texas, or moving there in the early 50s, working in construction, and, 1957, recording that Ooh Wee Baby, which was a great song. And, of course, I know it was in a Yoplait yogurt commercial out there. And, of course, you had a lot of things going for you, charting record, Is It Wrong for Loving You? Just talk about the history and some of your most proudest moments, Mickey, in country music.
Well, I got to tell you that, the country music fans, after Roomful of Roses hit in 1974, they gave me 17 number one songs. And I thought at the time that I recorded Roomful of Roses, it was recorded for the B-side, and I thought maybe I might be a one-hit wonder when it hit and went number one for me. But I met Conway Twitty. I joined his organization and toured with Conway and Loretta. And the 80s came along with John Travolta and launched me and Johnny Lee in the stratosphere as far as our performances and our career was concerned. And all of a sudden, all the shows in Vegas, Reno, Tahoe, and Atlantic City opened up. And, we're going, just 90-0. And so all of a sudden, they give me a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. And I got to play for 2 presidents at the White House. And then the scary part happened in my life and my career. They invited me to come to Hollywood and do some acting. Okay. I did 2 Fall Guys episodes. I did 2 Fantasy Islands. I did 2 Dukes of Hazzards and 1 Murder, She Wrote, and I got a little part on Chips with Eric Estrada. And, of course, the film The Urban Cowboy is what created all that for me. And lo and behold, it's just been a great ride to be my age and still being able to perform and having a good time with the country music fans.
Yeah, talk a little bit about, of course, Pasadena. I know that area very well. Spent some time over there as a high school coach and also a football coach and a teacher. That area, the club's doing well. Last time we talked to Johnny, he was hanging out at Gilley's over there too, and definitely one of the best spots to film the movie. And, of course, just a great spot out there for people to hang out. How's Gilley's doing, by the way?
Well, I tell you what, I never dreamed in 1971 when we opened the club up that it would lead me into a situation where we would end up having my first #1 song after 17 years of struggling in the music business, trying to follow my two cousins, Jerry Lewis and Reverend Swaggart, who was very successful at the time. And lo and behold, Room Full of Roses hit in 1974 nationwide, and I had my first #1 song. And then, of course, I wanted to stick with Gilley's because I thought at the time I might be a one-hit wonder. Held on to the club with my business partner, Mr. Cryer. And lo and behold, it was a good move on my part because he installed that mechanical bull. Can you believe that after all these years, I followed the darn mechanical bull into the industry and became a country music performer on account of the mechanical bull because John Travolta made it happen.
That's crazy. What a great movie there. And, you think back to when it was filmed out there at the location and, of course, just John Travolta making that part. So many great actors and actresses in the movie, of course, Urban Cowboy. I know for you guys, very proud moments, and I was talking to Johnny there on there too, and Looking for Love, and just all the great songs of the 80s and 90s. I think, Mickey, some of that stuff is coming back with we're seeing Randall King and Josh Ward and Aaron Watson, Kevin Fowler, just to name a few guys out there that are bringing back the old-style traditional country. Thomas Mack, who I had on the show earlier today. And just kind of talking to you, you think that's a good thing for the industry? Because I sure do.
Well, I absolutely do. I think that the country music scene changed quite a bit, over the past few years, and I like the traditional country music. That's the reason why I listen a lot to Willie's Roadhouse because they play the old music. And I've always enjoyed the music that I grew up with, and it's been something that's in my blood. And when I go out on the road, I try to do the hits that I've had. And the people seem to enjoy it. This last performance I did, the crowd was singing the songs louder than I was singing on the microphone. They knew the lyrics. So I'm thinking, you better get it right, son, because they know the songs better than you do.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you, too, about the project that came out, If I Had It My Way, which was a single that came out this past February. Talk a little bit about that because you worked with just fine folks and a great camp there on that song. Give me the latest on If I Had It My Way, and did it come out, I guess, the way you guys kind of expected?
Well, actually, when David Joel asked me if I would, do the song with him, I said, sure, I'd be glad to. He's a friend, and he's a Texas act. And I went in the studio to do the performance with him. And it was something that he felt real strong about. I didn't feel that strong about the song, but he did. And, I didn't feel real strong about Paradise Tonight when I recorded it with Charlie McLean, but it was a #1 record for us. I told him, I said, hey, I'm not good at picking sometimes a song that's going to be a #1 tune. I said, if it goes #1, I'll go out on the road with you and sing it with you. If it don't, we made a run at it anyway.
Again, the legendary Mickey Gilley here on the Backstage Pass, again presented by our good friends over at Tour Guitars. Check them out at tourguitars.us for your custom-made guitar today. Of course, the sweet tone comes from the wood, and they provide pictures from start to finish. We're going to take a little flashback here. Room Full of Roses from Mickey Gilley here on the Backstage Pass, presented by Tour Guitars. Crank it up as if it were yesterday. Here it is.
If I sent a rose to you for every time you made me blue, you'd have a room full of roses. And if I sent a rose of wine for every time that I cried all night, have a room full of roses. And if I took the petals, I would tear them all apart. I'd be tearing up the roses just the way you broke my heart. But if someday you're feeling blue and you could sing a rose, maybe two, don't send me a room full of roses. 'Cause all I want is my arms around you. And if I took the petals, I would tear them all apart. I'd be tearing up the roses, honey, just the way you broke my heart. If someday you're feeling blue and you could send a rose, maybe two, don't send me a room full of roses. 'Cause all I want is my arms around you.
Hey, this is David Ball here talking with Brandon. We've been talking about country music. You can hear it on the sportsguyspodcast.com.
If you're in the market for a custom-made, custom-designed acoustic guitar, there is only one place to go, and that is Tour Guitars. Our custom-made guitars can be made from numerous shapes and sizes to accommodate multiple playing styles, personal playability, and voice. Choose from many exotic rainforest woods or domestic tone woods. Many are hand-finished in the old-style French polishing method. Personalized inlays are a feature, as are embellishments like pickups, sound ports, shell inlays, wooden, and shell rosettes. We design together and then we create. Pictures are provided from start to finish. Tour Guitars' sweet tone comes from the wood. To get yours today, visit toirguitars.us or give us a call at 806-252-8943. That's 806-252-8943.
What's up, y'all? This is Bravo Boone with Moccasin Creek. Checking in to you right now with the Sports Guys Podcast. If y'all want to catch up on everything music and sports related, hit them up. Check them out at www.thesportsguyspodcast.com.
And welcome back here to the show again. Brandon Morrell inside the Backstage Pass with the legendary Mickey Gilley, talking a little country music, Gilley's, and of course just a lot of great songs there. And you know, you were talking a little bit about Room Full of Roses, Mick, and I tell you, that's just such a great song for you. And you guys had a lot of confidence in that tune. You sang with a lot of confidence, and I can remember just growing up in that 90s country era the way that I did too, with my grandma on the vinyl records. That song still resonates with a lot of fans today.
Well, I got to tell you that I never dreamed that Room Full of Roses was going to be a #1 record for me in the country music charts, because the lady that had the jukebox in Gilley's asked me when she heard me do a song on a little TV show that I acquired in Houston, and I'm doing this little TV show, and I walked in the club one night, and she called me over and she said, "Today on your show you did my favorite song." And I said, "What was it?" And she said, "She called me Baby All Night Long." I said, "Yes, ma'am, it's a Harlan Howard tune." She said, "I know." She said, "That record's out of print. I want you to record that for me." Make a long story short, I went to the studio to record She Called Me Baby All Night Long, thinking that this is going to be the A side of the record, right? Because it was on 45s, A side and the B side. And I happened to pick the old song, Room Full of Roses. I grew up singing that song with Reverend Swaggart and Jerry Lewis. And Jerry had always overlooked it. He never had recorded it at that point in time. And so I just casually turned to the band. I said, "Let's do the old song, Room Full of Roses." And they said, "How's it go?" I played it for them on the piano. They wrote a little chart on it. I started into the song, and I got about 30 seconds into it. And I said, "Wait a minute, stop. Wait, hold on a minute." And the bass guitar player said, "What's the problem?" I said, "I think it's going to sound too much like my cousin Jerry Lewis." And he says, "Who cares? It's going to be the B side, and nobody's ever going to hear it." And lo and behold, I said, "You know what? You have a point." And I just relaxed, and I made the arpeggio on the piano, and I started into the song, and we went through it, and we got the cut we wanted on it. And so I put it back to back with the She Called Me Baby All Night Long. The radio station flipped it over and started playing Room Full of Roses, and lo and behold, it was my first #1 record in the country charts.
And I tell you, that led to that second charted record, Lonely Wine, and I've had an old vinyl copy of that too back in the '90s. My grandma said, "Don't you ever sell these, boy, or I'm gonna come back and get you when I pass on," and that kind of thing. So I kept them in the closet. They ain't gone anywhere. I got the old record player. We just upgraded it a little bit to it. But talk about Lonely Wine, because man, so many great songs.
I'm gonna give you some musical trivia here that you probably don't know about. You know, you mentioned the Ooh Wee Baby, and you said it's a great song. Actually, the song was unbelievably a bad tune, but I've made a lot of money off of it. Let's put it like that, all right? It's my first record ever made, trying to follow my cousin Gilley Lewis in the music industry. Bottom line, the Yo Play Yogurt Company used it for 3 years in Ireland in a commercial, and I play it when I do the concerts for the people, and they sent me a total of $55,000 for that song, which it was they needed a 30-second clip of it. All right, so that's one thing. The guy playing the drums on that particular recording session was Johnny Bush.
Okay.
You probably didn't know that, but you know who Johnny Bush is. He wrote Whiskey River, and he's a Texas act, a friend of mine. And then another musical trivia I want to tell you that in 1959 and 60, my very first chart record on the charts in the Houston area was a song called "Is It Wrong for Loving You?" And the guy playing the bass guitar, well, actually it was a bass fiddle, on the recording session was Kenny Rogers.
I'll be dang, isn't that something? I tell you.
But Lonely Wine came along because I found out that Paul Berlin, which was one of the top DJs in the Houston market, on KNUZ radio, he loved that song. He heard, and he was playing it by Roy Orbison. And I heard it on the radio, and I got to thinking, I love the song, and I got my version of it, and I'm thinking, since it was on an album, if I made a single of it, maybe Paul Berlin might play my version of it, So I made a version of a Lonely Wine, and Paul liked it, put it on, started playing it. It got in the top 10 in Houston, and it was the chart record for me. So I had 2 chart records, Lonely Wine and Is It Wrong for Loving You. Was the 2 songs that charted for me until Room Full of Roses came along, and of course, it was my first #1 record.
Well, I tell you what, I'm going to love playing this one now. I'm such in that music festive mood, Mickey. And I tell you what, don't the girls all get prettier at closing time? Reached #1 on the Billboard Country charts. Here it is from Mickey Gilley. They were presented by Tour Guitars, folks. Crank it up again.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, pick. All the girls all get prettier at closing time. Oh, they all begin to look like movie stars. And all the girls all get prettier at closing time. When the change starts taking place, as it move on every phase of the fallen angels of the backstreet boys. If I could rate them on a scale from 1 to 10, I'm looking for a 9, but 8 could work the right in. A few more drinks and I might slip to 5 or even 4. But when tomorrow morning comes, I wake up with a #1. I swear I'll never do it anymore. And all the girls all get prettier at closing time. And all they all begin to look like movie stars. All the girls all get prettier at closing time. When the change starts taking place, there's a glow on every face of the fallen angels of the backstreet boys. I don't mean to criticize the girls at all. I have no Robert Redford, even Ola Hall. We all picture in our minds a girl that looks just right. Ain't it funny, ain't it strange, the way a man's opinions change when he starts to face that lonely night. And all the girls all get prettier at closing time. Oh, they all begin to look like the change starts taking place. There's a glow on every face of the fallen angels of the backstreet ball. When I say fallen angels of the backstreet ball.
Hey folks, this is Gord Bamford, and you're listening to my good buddy Brandon Morrell and the hashtag redneck himself, Gord Bamford, on the Backstage Pass. If you want some more info on myself, check it out at gordbamford.com, and we'll see you soon.
And hey guys, don't forget to listen to the Chris and Sandy Show. It's a show co-hosted by Chris and Sandy Benton. It's a fun and inspiring show wrapped around country music. Their marriage is their uniqueness, as they've been a 24/7 couple for over 17 years of marriage. With Chris's love of talking and Sandy's love of country music, they are the perfect team for the show. They talk about crazy news, tell inspiring stories, all while interviewing great rising country stars. Their interviews won't be just about music, but digging deep into each artist's life to tell their raw stories. Go to chrissandyshow.com for more details, or find them on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Chris Sandy Show. Again, the Chris and Sandy Benton Show, our partners here at the sportsguyspodcast.com. Keep listening.
Hey y'all, this is Dallas Shermington, and for the best in sports and music, y'all make sure to hang out with my buddy Brandon and check out the sportsguyspodcast.com.
And welcome back here to the show again. It was a #1 song there, Don't the Girls All Get Prettier, at closing time for the legendary Mickey Gilley here on the program. Of course, it reached #1 on the Billboard Country charts. And like you said at the beginning, Johnny's still looking for love, and you're still doing Don't the Girls All Get Prettier at closing time too as well. So let's talk about that one. Great writers and great people in your camp you worked with on that song, and kind of what was the backstory of that one?
Well, when I got the song, I took it out and I played for my friend Conway Twitty. I was traveling with him at the time. And I tell the story in the show, and I said, Conway, he was good at picking material. And I said, what do you think about this song? I played it for him. He listened to it on his bus. And he looked at me and he says, I don't think you need to do this song, Gilley. And I said, why? Don't you think it's a great song? He says, it's a great song, but don't you know that the ladies buy the most records? And I said, okay. And he said, well, think about it. You put them down talking about it getting better look at the closing time. I said, well, you think about this. My drinking buddies will love the song because it's a true story. I said, I'm going to take a chance to record it.
It worked out really good, too, no doubt about it. Hey, I love the story that you told years back, and you love City Lights. I mean, City Lights was always one out there that a lot of people grew up on, especially during that time when music was just so good back there in the 80s and 90s country. Talk about City Lights a little bit, and definitely people still talk about that song today.
Well, we were looking for a follow-up to, I think, let's see, I had, if I'm not mistaken, I think I'd had a Room Full of Roses. I had overlooked an orchid while I was searching for a rose. I had The Wind Up Above. And we was looking for a song to try to follow another #1 record. And the producer kept asking me about some tunes that I had, performed at the nightclubs. And I told him, I said, well, there's a song that Bill Anderson wrote called City Lights that could be done similar to the way Jerry Lee did Another Place, Another Time. And he says, well, let me get the record. So we got it, and we started messing with it. And we made several different runs at it with different versions of it at the piano. And finally, we came up with a version that we used for the record, and it became a #1 song for me. We later re-recorded it, and we used a fiddle kickoff on it, which I like a little bit better. But the #1 version of it was by me kicking it off at the piano.
Yeah, really great job on that song. And Mickey Gilley here on the Backstage Pass, again, presented by our good friends over at Tour Guitars. I'm going to go back to one, of course, with Urban Cowboy. We talked a lot about it becoming a phenomenon out there, too. But, man, you really just hit the nail on the head when you did Stand By Me. And, of course, that song is, I know, special to you. It went platinum and kind of made that household name out there. And, I think there's just so much we can dig into on that one, too, with Stand By Me. But what were you most proud of on that project?
Well, the most thing that I was really excited about was the fact that the guy that produced the record on me, I did not know at the time how important it was to work with somebody that produced as well as he. And his name was Jim Ed Norman, and he gave me 8 #1 songs. I mean, right in a row, just about. We're starting with "Stand By Me" from the soundtrack film "The Urban Cowboy," and I had "You Don't Know Me," "That's All That Matters to Me," "Headache Tomorrow," and "That Fool for Your Love," "Put Your Dreams Away," "Lonely Nights." I mean, I had all these songs that bingo. I mean, I was having one song after another go number one for me. And it dawned on me, that this guy was awesome at picking material and convincing me that I could do certain songs that I never had thought I could do before. And it actually changed my life and my career because it took me out of the realm of the shadow of my cousin Jerry Lewis and gave me more of an identity than I'd ever had before. So that's the one thing that I loved and appreciated about the fact of working with him. I just got news not too long ago. In fact, a couple of days ago, the PR firm called me and said they had some record companies in Nashville was interested in doing another album on Mickey Gilley. Okay. I hadn't recorded anything since the 80s, as far as my career is concerned. And I said, look, if I can get Jim Ed Norman, you got me. So I made a contact with Jim Ed, and he said absolutely he'd work with me, So if we can put it together again, I might be going back and doing another album.
How about that, man? We'll get you back on the program. We'll talk all about that, too, as well. I'll tell you what, Orange Blossom Special, performed by your great Urban Cowboy band, was a song goes on to earn the Grammy, which is one of the highest honors out there for the Grammy Awards. And I know you guys felt something special with Orange Blossom Special when you guys, your band played that one. They did an excellent job, too.
Well, Johnny and I, right now, when we out there and we're doing the road work, Johnny opens the show. I come out and do my little bit, and I do all the songs I feel like I can squeeze into my time limit. And I try to do the number one songs that folks gave me. And then we close with the Urban Cowboy medley, which we start with the Orange Blossom Special. Like you said, the band won a Grammy for that particular song. And then we go through the list of songs, down through the segment of the Urban. It takes about 20, 25 minutes to do it. But, we hit on Hello, Texas, and Could I Have This Dance, and Love, Look What You Did to Me, and all the songs that we had. And, of course, we do Looking for Love and Stand By Me in a segment, too. But it's all in the tail end of the performance, which gives it sort of a grand finale. And I think it's been very rewarding for me and Johnny both. And the people get to see me and Johnny on the stage, doing Mama Don't Let Your Babies Go to Be Cowboys, that kind of things, which we did in the film The Urban Cowboy.
I love the story. We kind of settled there into Branson, Missouri, and I've never have been to Branson if I could recall. I'm trying to remember if it was a kid. We probably passed through there, but definitely your theater has gone through some ups and downs too, and I'd love to come catch a performance there and hope to catch you guys on this big tour coming up when it does resume past all this COVID stuff. But I know you love Branson. There's a lot of great things about it out there too, and so many legends have come through your theater. Just talk about how it's holding up today, and I know you guys are ready to get back to work, right?
Absolutely. I'm ready to go back to work because I'm still, out there and having a great time performing the songs for the folks. As long as they keep coming to see the old man, I'm going to be out there performing for them. But speaking about Branson, I sold my theater and the restaurant that I had for all those years, about 3 years ago. And they asked me to come back and do a show here and there, So I'm doing that. The thing that started the Urban Cowboy thing off of me and Johnny is when Mel Tillis got sick. My friend Clay Cooper called me up and said, I know that you're fixing to retire or do something different, And I said, well, I'm not thinking about retiring, but I am thinking about slowing down a little bit, And he says, I need somebody to fill in for Mel Tillis. And I said, wait a minute. Mel Tillis is a big star. He said, well, you are too. I said, hey, Clay, people have been coming to see Mickey Gilley for 20-something years here in Branson. They're not going to come see me. I said, wait a minute. Let me call Johnny. If I can get Johnny to come in with me and we can do an Urban Cowboy reunion tour, this might work. And that's how it came about. And it was so successful at his theater that I sent Johnny one of his checks. And he says, is this all my money? And I said, absolutely. He said, oh, man, you put me in a different tax bracket.
It's always good to tax bracket. I love the stories there, too. Again, Mickey Gilley here on the Backstage Pass, again, presented by Tour Guitars. A lot of artists here on the program we talk to, Mickey, they talk about, getting into this because they love music and love the passion for it and appreciation of the great stars like yourself who have just paved the way for them to have the chance today to do the music they love and to hear all the stories, knowing it's a tough business, it's a grind. I guess kind of a two-parter here. What's the best part about doing what you've done for so many years, and what's been the most difficult part?
Well, the most difficult part, of course, was having the first hit record happen for me and not knowing what the heck I was doing. After I got into the business and I got a little more astute of what was going on, at the beginning I was a party animal, which I shouldn't have been. I'd had a better career, but now that I've gotten older and a little more wiser, I think that the things are the rewarding parts of it is getting to meet some of the most wonderful people that I've ever met in my life in the country music field and being able to share with them the things that they enjoy doing is by meeting somebody, getting an autograph, taking a picture, I mean, it's very rewarding to me and also for the fans out there that love the artists that they're supporting, and that's the wonderful part about being in the music industry, something I love. And I hope that this pandemic thing is subsides so we can start doing that again. Right now, we got to be very careful. We're wearing a mask. We don't go out and do the meet and greets like we were doing and things of that sort, which I don't like, but it's the way it is right now. I think it'll change in time.
I do too, and hopefully we can get out there to Branson, Nashville, and like I said, hope to see you and definitely you and Johnny back in concert doing the Urban Cowboy tour again. I got to ask you about the Pioneer Award. Of course, it was presented by the Branson Area Chamber of Commerce. I know for you guys, awards just, again, you don't expect them kind of in the industry, but when they do, it's great to hear from your peers and, of course, different publications out there. What did that award mean to you?
Well, every time somebody gives you an award, you appreciate it and you thank them for it. I was fortunate enough to win an awards, the Academy Country Music Awards show, and they've given me different things down through my career, and every one of them is kind of special. The most lucrative one I received, I guess, was a Star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, which was something that you'll always remember if you're a performer or any kind of actor or whatever, to get that reward was the biggest thing that ever happened to me. But every one of them is special, and they mean a lot to you. The other thing that I am very proud of is the fact that I have my name on a club in Las Vegas at the Treasure Island, Gilley's, and it's something that I treasure very much. The fact is that they got my name, Gilley's, out there, and we got 2 in Oklahoma, one in Pensacola, Oklahoma, one Durant, Oklahoma, and we also have one in Dallas. It's got Gilley's out there, and it's kept the name brand out in front of the audience. So those are things that are important for me also.
Hey, I'm going to go back to 1994. I was just 14 at that time, and I remember the vinyl record comes across, and she goes, "Honey, I bought you this one. Again, put it in that stack, and don't you ever sell it again." So Talk to Me was one I loved. Let's talk a little bit about Honky Tonk Wine, because that was one of my favorites off that record, Talk to Me. What was that story behind Honky Tonk Wine?
Well, Mac Vickery is the one that wrote the song, and when I recorded it, it was an up-tempo boogie-woogie type tune. It became a song that Ralph Emery on Pop Goes the Country, every time I'd go on the show to do that particular performance, he would say, "Let's do a little bit of Honky Tonk Wine." He loved that song for some reason, and I'd kick in the, sweet honky tonk wine. In fact, I even did it in the film, The Urban Cowboy.
I love that too. And hey, what you guys did with Troy Payne, I got to talk to you. I love, first of all, the title of it's great. 2 Old Cats was out there. 2 Old Cats Like Us was the title track of that album too. And I want to talk about just working with Troy on that project, because you guys had Designated Drinker and I Don't Need Your Rocking Chair, of course, George Jones. So many great songs there. But it's just amazing. 2 Old Cats came out really good, Mickey.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Troy came up with the idea and came to me and he says, he said, I want to do a CD. He was in the music scene really hot and heavy, and he was a fan of Mickey Gilley, and that's how I met him. And the bottom line was that when he decided he wanted to do this particular project, he asked me, he says, would you be willing to, maybe sing some songs with me? And I said, absolutely. I got no problem with singing with you, Troy. It'd be fine, So we use a little kick in the show sometimes when he comes out and we do a tune or two together. Yeah, I said, "Why'd you pick me to do this project with you, Troy?" He says, "Because I couldn't get George straight. That's why." Hey, you got to poke fun at yourself. You want to have a good time. You know what I mean?
That's exactly right. Well, I'll tell you what. Hey, we love to have a little fun here too. A series of funny questions I'm gonna throw out there. A little segment we call Rapid Fire. So hey, whatever comes to mind, hey, just throw it out there. No right or wrong answer. So hey, during this time, what's been some of the favorite TV shows, I guess, programs that you've caught up on?
Usually I watch the news more than anything else, but I like to watch the ID channel, and I like to watch some of those types of shows. I like to watch 48 Hours, Dateline, and things of that sort. That's my favorite things that I watch. I don't have a lot of things that I keep TV on all the time, but it's just mainly that something to keep my mind off everything else is all.
Hey, of course, knowing Texas very well and Pasadena, of course, knowing food real well, and also Branson, what's been kind of the food or foods of choice during this quarantine period? What have you kind of gotten into?
Well, I've always liked Mexican food. I like sushi. I like comfort food. But I just like spicy food. I guess that's the reason why I like sushi. I didn't get into sushi until back in the 80s, but because I didn't eat that stuff until that time, and all of a sudden I found that it would, that wasabi is spicy, and you can use. I started out with California rolls, and I graduated on up to the salmon and the tuna and that type of thing.
My favorite one is the spicy tuna roll. That's one of my favorite ones that you can get.
Yeah, and a lot of people don't realize that a lot of the food that they do at the sushi bar is cooked. They don't realize it.
Yeah,
but I like it all. It's I don't like everything, but I like the majority of it.
Okay, I like that too.
It's special to go out to a sushi place and have a beer and have some sushi.
Yeah, just enjoy yourself and kind of enjoy it. That's one of the foods we try to do at least once or twice a month here in Texas. Here in Beaumont, we got a pretty good little sushi place right around the corner from us. I
always love Cracker Barrel now.
Yeah.
I get comfort food, you know what I mean?
Hey, Cracker Barrel's one of the best out there.
Yeah.
Hey, when you get a chance to put down the mic and, of course, the guitar and kind of step away from music, what are some of the other hobbies that you enjoy the most?
Well, my hobby was playing golf, which I can't do anymore because of my accident I had. And the other thing was flying my airplane. I've got a multi-engine rating. I got an instrument rating. I got about almost 11,000 hours of flying time. I even got a commercial rating. But I lost my medical back when I had my accident. I can't play piano anymore. My hands don't work very well. But my voice is holding up pretty good. So I'm doing quite well other than that. At 84, not bad.
Hey.
I don't know how much longer I got because everybody's, passing on. But anyway, I'm still here.
You're still here and still kicking ass and taking names. The legendary Mickey Gilley here on the program. Be sure and check out Gilleys.com. Visit the club in Pasadena. Of course, always get the music if you don't have it already. What are you waiting for out there on digital platforms? And Mickey, I tell you what, it was a pleasure to talk to Johnny on the program last year, Johnny Lee, and of course, best of luck when you guys restart the tour. I hope I can actually meet you one day, and I'd love to come sit front row and take my wife to the big time concert one day.
Brandon, we'd love to have you at the show, and all the country music fans out there want to see me and Johnny Lee. Don't wait too long now because I'm 84 and I don't know how much longer I got, but come see us. We need to get together and listen to some great country music.
Oh, you got it right. It's Mickey Gilley here on the Backstage Pass. Of course, we're presented by Tour Guitars. And coming up later, Ray Fulcher on the program. And then next week, Nashville recording artist Daryl Worley is going to stop by here on the Backstage Pass. Looking forward to catching up with him. And then toward the end of October, a name that Mickey will know well, Mo Bandy, coming by the program here. And we're going to talk about some more of that classic country music here on the Backstage Pass. You guys stay tuned for more here at the SportsGuysPodcast.com.